Gantz slams PM's war strategy, demands hostage priority. In a fiery address that sent shockwaves through Israeli political circles, former Defense Minister Benny Gantz launched a scathing attack on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's war strategy, accusing him of prioritizing political survival over national interests and the lives of hostages held in Gaza. Gantz, leader of the centrist National Unity Party, didn't mince words as he rebutted Netanyahu's insistence on maintaining control of the Philadelphi Corridor along the Gaza-Egypt border. The hostages must be returned, even at a very heavy price, Gantz declared, arguing that Israel could return to the strategic area when necessary after securing the hostages' release. The former IDF chief of staff painted a damning picture of Netanyahu's leadership, asserting that the prime minister did not look the public in the eye and tell the truth. In a blistering critique, Gantz claimed Netanyahu won't bring the hostages home. He won't truly protect the South. He won't return the residents of the North to their homes. He won't prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Gantz didn't stop there, accusing Netanyahu of consistently obstructing hostage deals and delaying critical military operations. During the period that we sat in the war cabinet, Gantz charged, Netanyahu delayed the progress of the talks in a serial manner, including during the first deal in November. The opposition leader argued that Netanyahu's stance on the Philadelphi Corridor was contradictory and weak. If he is not strong enough to withstand the international pressure against a future return to the border strip, let him put down the keys and go home, Gantz said, challenging Netanyahu's claims of strength in the face of international pressure. In a stark assessment of Israel's priorities, Gantz called for a shift in focus to the northern border and the Iranian threat. The Philadelphia axis is an operational challenge, but it is not the existential threat to the state of Israel. Iran's axis of evil is the existential threat to us, he asserted. Gantz's remarks were echoed by his party colleague and former IDF commander Gadi Eisenkot, who expressed concern over Netanyahu's delegitimization of Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and IDF officers. Both former military chiefs accused Netanyahu of neglecting the Iran threat and mismanaging Israel's strategic priorities. The Prime Minister's office fired back, listing Israel's military achievements since Gantz's party left the government in June. Whoever does not contribute to the victory and the return of our hostages, it would be best not to get in the way, the statement read, dismissing the criticisms of Netanyahu's former political partners. As protests sweep across Israel demanding action on the hostage crisis, Gantz's intervention has reignited the debate over Netanyahu's leadership and Israel's war strategy. With calls for new elections growing louder, the political landscape in Israel appears increasingly volatile. Thus floats new Rafah plan as peace talks falter. As negotiations for a ceasefire and hostage release deal continue to stall, a senior U.S. official has unveiled a potential breakthrough plan for the contentious Rafah crossing. According to a report by the Washington Post, the most likely U.S.-led solution involves the formation of a Palestinian force, trained by the United States, to secure the crucial border crossing. This development comes as the European Union signals its readiness to resume its monitoring role at Rafah, working in cooperation with the Palestinian Authority. The plan aims to address one of the key sticking points in the ongoing negotiations, the future control of the Gaza-Egypt border. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's insistence on maintaining Israeli forces in the Philadelphi Corridor remains a significant obstacle. The Washington Post, citing current and former officials involved in the mediation, highlighted this position as a major roadblock to reaching a ceasefire agreement and facilitating the release of Israeli hostages. The situation has reached a critical juncture, with US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris reportedly considering a take-it-or-leave-it proposal to be presented to Israel and Hamas as early as this week. This drastic move comes after months of fruitless negotiations and growing frustration among mediators. The stakes couldn't be higher, with two senior U.S. officials warning that a rejection of this final offer could spell the end of US-led negotiations altogether. Meanwhile, Egypt has signaled its openness to EU presence at the Rafah crossing, potentially paving the way for a multinational approach to border security. The urgency of the situation was underscored by the tragic discovery of 6 Israeli hostages' bodies in Gaza over the weekend. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby emphasized the critical need for a ceasefire, stating, "Clearly what happened over the weekend underscores how important it is to get this done as quickly as possible." despite the talk of a take-it-or-leave-it approach. Kirby insisted that Washington is not advocating such an ultimatum. Instead, he described the U.S. efforts as developing a proposal aimed at securing the release of remaining hostages while providing massive and immediate relief for the people of Gaza and stopping the fighting. The pressure is mounting on Netanyahu, with President Biden publicly stating that the Israeli Prime Minister is not doing enough to secure a deal. As the U.S. continues its consultations with Qatar, Egypt, and Israel, the world watches anxiously to see if this latest diplomatic push can finally break the deadlock and bring an end to the devastating conflict in Gaza. With time running out and patience wearing thin, the proposed plan for the Rafah crossing could represent the last best hope for a negotiated solution. As the region teeters on the brink of further escalation, the success or failure of this initiative may well determine the course of the conflict in the coming months. Subscribe for more.